Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. You know, my name's Chad. Take a dive on sports. Welcome to the NFL playoffs divisional round. That's right, we're down to the Elite Eight. 8 teams remaining. We still got double bill Saturday, Sunday action. We'll see a lot of quality matchups. Another divisional showdown, a classic playoff rivalry matchup, and we'll kind of go into bits and pieces in each game, kind of go over quick little synopsis of what happened in wild card weekend. But before I get into all that, if you could go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and especially like the content I provide, really pleases you two guys, really help promote this channel out. You also subscribe. Love you guys review my work. I love you all for doing that. Now, me, you subscribe, this costs you a dime. Helps me provide more time value for you. Now, during the wild card, I went 4-2. I did call for the Giants to win. Was not shocked the Jags beat the Chargers. A little shocked how the Cowboys manhandled the Bucks. But everything else, I kind of saw how it played out. Buffalo's got me a little worried because they keep continuing to do what they're doing. They could find themselves out. And that's my pick to win it all, as well as the MVP. So, let's go and just dive into these matchups. And Saturday's going to be all the number one teams kicking things off. So we'll start off once again late afternoon out there in Arrowhead with the Kansas City Chiefs playing host to the surprise Jacksonville Jaguars. Right now, the Chiefs are favored by 8.5. Now, I understand why, because Patrick Mahomes is just another level when it comes to quarterback play in the NFL. And he's just find ways to make anyone look spectacular. He can make this fat body individual look spectacular. That's if I don't drop the ball. I have feet for hands. And Jacksonville's defense is young, fresh. It definitely puts some pressure on Mahomes. The Mahomes' line is not the best in the world. Near that Chiefs secondary. And Trevor Lawrence can find ways to pick them apart. Use Kirk. He used other targets last week. So there's definitely ways that the Jags can continue to make the play. Antonine should be a huge factor in this game. Probably have the Jags possibly even leading Kansas City most of the time. But Mahomes is one of these guys this offense doesn't really let up. So this is not going to be the Chargers. They're going to find ways to put points on the board and eliminate a lot of the mistakes. I do not see this being an 8.5 matchup. I think Jacksonville will definitely keep us a lot closer and probably scare Kansas City. But we'll take the Chiefs in a game that'll be a one-score game for sure. I'll probably go more to the 3-point range, but I think the Chiefs should escape the threat of the Jaguars hunting on the plains. Going into the city of brotherly love, where they're not going to show any love for the G-men as the big blue come into town. A NFC East showdown. Remember, there's 3 NFC East teams that made the playoffs. All 3 are in the Final Four for the NFC. You're guaranteed at least one in the NFC Championship game. Now, this is Jalen Hurts has had a week off since coming back in that last week of the season. Didn't play very well, very timid, but he's still hurt. Another week of practice, kind of get everything going. Apparently, they're saying everything's okay. We'll see once he gets hit. The whole game plan changes once you get hit in the mouth. Right now, Philly's favored by 7.5. I don't think it's going to be like that either. And if Saquon Barkley can continue his running attack, as long as Daniel Jones is very effective, if the G-men do what they do last week, we could see a very different take when it comes to this game. However, when I look at this, I can't overlook the effectiveness of this Eagles offense. The Eagles defense is another factor you got to take into account as well. The Eagles right now look poised to make a nice statement. I don't think they're going to win the NFC, but I do think they will win this game. I think there's just too much in there. As long as Hurts can stay upright and not get banged up, he should be all right. We'll see what happens once he makes a running play, because all the rules to protecting the quarterback get thrown out the window, and he'll get hit. So we'll see how this one pans out, but I do think Philadelphia probably will edge out the Giants. Once again, one-score game. I'm probably going more to the 3-point range, just because the Eagles haven't played it a bit. The Giants are fresh off that win in Minnesota, which I called, but I don't think they can win 2 games on the road back-to-back in the playoffs. They're going to make it interesting, and the G-men are definitely built for the future, especially with the coach they have. It depends if they can keep Barkley and Jones in place. They can start building around those two. But I think Philadelphia will able to slip past the Giants by 3. Then that takes us to Sunday. And then we have the Bengals and the Bills. And on a side note here, if the Bills win this game and the Chiefs win on Saturday, the game between the Bills and Chiefs will be played in Atlanta. If Cincinnati wins, doesn't matter. If Jacksonville wins, doesn't matter. So if Buffalo and Kansas City both win, that game will be in Atlanta. It's already been predetermined. Now, looking at this game ahead between the Bengals and Bills, the game that should have played, or I shouldn't say should have played, that was scheduled to play, but because of the unfortunate circumstances dealing with Damar Hamlin, the game was completely canceled, which caused this whole scenario of the AFC Championship game could be at a neutral site. Hamlin's fine. He's been in the training facility with the Bills all week. Actually, since he's been released from the hospital, he's been there constantly. So the Bills don't have that hanging over their shoulders. However, the play Buffalo did last week against Miami, they cannot repeat that at all. If they do that, they will be out. Looking at that Monday night game, that first quarter, the Bengals were en route to, they were on pace to win. I'm not saying they would have, but they were definitely ahead and looking poised to knock off Buffalo. Now remember, Cincinnati is the defending AFC champion, so give them credit. They have a very confident quarterback. He enjoys the road games. He doesn't consider himself being the underdog in this matchup. He has stated his window of opportunity to win championships is his entire career. That is the type of caliber of a leader you want to run your team. He has changed the mindset of the Cincinnati Bengals football team overnight. They are no longer the Cincinnati Bungles. They're not the laughingstock of the league. They're once again relevant. Back in the days of Boomer Esiason, that made the team relevant. And then Derek Anderson before him. So this is definitely a quarterback that the Bengals definitely needed to kind of revitalize themselves and make themselves relevant again. And that Bills secondary is going to be tested. I mean, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Mixon can get it in there. The tight ends, I mean, there are a lot of weapons Cincinnati has. But can the Bills defense get to Joe Burrow, disrupt his passing, and possibly, give Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs the opportunity? You can worry about Gabe Davis, who's turned out to be a key factor in that game against Miami. Singletary is a factor in this game at points in time as well. So this is definitely a huge match between these two. I think they're picked evenly, even though Buffalo started by 5.5. I think just because they're at home in late January, maybe that would affect some things. I went back and forth on this one, but because I have the Bills going to the Super Bowl, I have to pick Buffalo. But I would not be surprised if Cincinnati upset them. It would not shock me at all. But definitely pick the Bills. It definitely will be close. It'll probably be like a 1 to 2 point game. I think it's going to be that close between these two. And then the Sunday matinee game between the Cowboys and 49ers out there in Santa Clara. A rematch of last year's divisional game where Cowboys hosted the 49ers, and the infamous not running out of time and couldn't spike the ball in time. Poor clock management in terms of that game. And this is a huge matchup between these two. These guys have faced off a lot in the playoffs. One of the key games in the lore of these two franchises is the catch between Joe Montana and Dwight Clark that sent the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Of course, the TO stands on the star. It's another big one because that's just TO. He's just that type of individual. This should be a excellent game between these two. I look at this and it's like if Dallas plays the way they did last week, this is going to be a shootout. But the 49ers defense, totally different than Tampa Bay's in terms of talent-wise. They may play the same style, like in the zone defense, and Dak has shown issues with the zone, but last week destroyed them. I don't think they'll be able to get as much running attack as they did against Tampa Bay, against San Francisco. A little bit better defensive lineman in that aspect. It's the secondary of the 49ers that will have to step up their game against the Cowboys receivers. Schultz proved to be a huge factor last week. CeeDee Lamb was open a lot of times last week as well, which gave him some of his numbers. So I think CeeDee Lamb's got to make a huge factor. The running attack will have to do something as well. But the 49ers have so many weapons. The question mark right now is Brock Purdy because he has yet to face an elite defense in the Cowboys. I think the closest he got is part of the Seahawks. The Raiders gave him problems, and the Raiders can have those issues as well. So I want to say this is. But one thing I want to just kind of address now is the talking point I've seen on Twitter and this morning on Get Up, talking about how the 49ers played last Saturday afternoon and the Cowboys played Monday night and they got to take on Sunday. And they're complaining about the different schedules and when they play each other. So it's unfair for the Cowboys. And I am like, really? That's the most idiotic thing I ever heard. You can't control the schedule. You know why there's a Monday night playoff game? Money. You know what's not going to happen? Getting rid of that Monday night football game. Not going to happen. Too much money involved in that. It's like the same thing if those guys playing Sunday, then they're on playing Thursday during the regular season. It happens. It's called scheduling. It's one of the things you have to look and take account. Before the Cowboys played their game, they knew if they won, they were going to San Francisco. So they already had scouted out the 49ers, or started to already. So they already game planned the 49ers before they even started with the Buccaneers. And at least the scout team did. The coach staff just worried about winning that game in Tampa Bay, and then they can start prepping for the Niners. So the 49ers had to wait until after, to find out who they're playing, but they had to prep for two teams. Then they prep for one. So this whole thing of this is unfair for the Cowboys is just those, let's put it this way, the elitists who want to see nothing but Brady, Rodgers, and the Cowboys. That's all they want. That's all they ever talk about, and it doesn't matter. It's the same scheduling format as any sport. Is it fair when a team sweeps, like an NBA, NHL, they sweep and then another team had to play 7 games before they finally won their series, turn around and play 2 days later? Is it fair to that team? It's just how things play out. you just adapt and overcome. These professional athletes, something minor as, oh, this team had an extra day of rest, it's going to affect them at all. No. Think of this. This is another historic game between these two franchises in the playoffs. And it'll come down to some key plays, especially kicker. The kicking game for the Cowboys last week was pathetic. When you made 1 out of 5 extra points, they've signed another kicker. It's just, I guess, to kind of give the other guy a little kick in the rear himself. But right now, the Niners are favored by 3.5. This one's definitely closer to 4, and I definitely can see that. But once again, I did pick the 49ers to win the NFC as well before the season. So I'm going with the 49ers. But would not be surprised if the Cowboys win in there and upset the Niners of Santa Clara. I would not. But Quinn should come in with a good game plan. I'm more worried about McCarthy and Kellen. I don't know. McCarthy, there's a reason why Green Bay let him go. He can never seem to get over the hump. And the OC, I mean, the Dallas has proven time and time again they can't be consistent on offense. Can they be consistent enough to win? Possibly, because the defense is definitely elite. Can the defense maintain that mentality they had? Possibly. They've shown they've had issues as well. So there's definitely some consistency issues with the Cowboys. The 49ers have struggled against poor teams like the Raiders. Had to go to overtime to win that one, but they won. They struggled early against Arizona, but ended up winning. And they struggled against the Seahawks, ended up winning. So the 49ers have the tenacity to win, regardless of who they're playing. And the 49ers are talented. They're probably more talented than Dallas. We'll just see who the chess pieces between Shanahan and McCarthy and who gets the checkmate first. I'll go with the Niners. I like that 3.5 as well, so I'll take that. But there you go. Those are the divisional rounds. I picked all the home teams. We'll see if that one bites. Because last week I picked 2 road teams. And only one of them won, but 2 road teams did win. But no, like I said, I got the 49ers and Bills in the Super Bowl anyway, so I have to keep with them until they get bounced. And if the Bills and Chiefs both win, they will have their conference championship game in Atlanta, which I think is a fair assumption. It's far enough away between the two cities where they both have to go there, neutral site. Dealing with all that DeMar Hamlin situation because the Bills and Bengals didn't play their Monday night game. We'll get that Monday night showdown this Sunday. These guys will definitely go at it. We'll see who comes out on top. I do see all these games being a one-score game. At least decide at least by 3 points. So we'll see how this plays out. This should be a fantastic weekend of action. Hey, just let me know down below who you think is going to be in the in the conference championship games. Not just NFC, but AFC as well. Who's going to win that Hatless or Hunt trophy before they get to the Lombardi trophy? Let me know in the comments below. Once you're down there, once again, you can share this video with your friends and family. It helps promote this channel out. You make sure you hit that thumbs up once again. Once you subscribe, make sure you tap that bell icon and turn on notifications so next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.